Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Ghost in Depth. In today's episode, we'll be reviewing the Bulldog shotgun. The gameplay that you're going to get to see is me using my Bulldog on Strike Zone and Domination. This is not the first game that I played with these guys. I used the Bulldog in the previous game, and since it's considered a somewhat overpowered weapon, which we'll talk about near the end of the episode, a lot of them also broke out their Bulldogs and their FP6s, and things got hairy. I wanted to show you this game because it was fast, it was crazy, it was shotgun versus shotgun, and it'll give you a very good feel of how the Bulldog will perform if you try it. Before moving further into the episode, I'd like to announce that the Ask Drifter Ghost app is now live in the Google Play Store for Android. It'll be live on iOS or for iPhone in a couple of days, but the Google Play Store approved it first. There is a link to the app in the description, and if you click on it, it'll take you to the proper store just based on what kind of mobile device you're using. If you've got an Android, it'll take you to the Android store, and if you're on iPhone, it'll take you to the Apple Store. It's very similar to last year's app, except it's been updated for Call of Duty Ghost stuff. An AI version of myself will rate your classes. You have a little class builder tool, you build your class, and I will or the AI me will analyze it, let you know what it is, and give you some textual feedback, and there are some other options as well. But now that I've talked about everything in the world other than the Bulldog, let's move into the Bulldog review, stating that it is a relatively low damage shotgun. It'll deal 50 damage in close quarters combat, but drop off to 17 at a distance, and that distance is still basically close quarters combat because it is a very low range shotgun, which we'll move into a little bit, but that is damage per shot. That is not damage per trigger pull, that is damage per pellet, and there are 8 pellets per shot, so it might be more appropriate to look at the total damage output of the Bulldog, which is 400 per trigger squeeze, and it'll drop off to 136 at its minimum. So at the longest of ranges, as long as the majority of your pellets hit, I think it'll be 6 out of 8 pellets or 7 out of 8 pellets hit, it will still one-shot kill people. Slug rounds are something of a complicated attachment, and they have their own in-depth, which is linked down there in the description. So if you'd like to know what slugs do on the Bulldog, I'd highly recommend you click down there and go to the other in-depth episode. Now we're going to talk about range. The maximum range of the Bulldog with no attachments is 11 meters. That's not very far at all. I'm honest with you, if I had a sword or a machete, that would basically be like knife bonus range. 11 meters is essentially like Commando from MW2 range, maybe a little bit less. It is very, very close. If you put a silencer on, it'll be close to about 8 meters, and if you put the muzzle brake, it'll be about 12 or 13 meters, so you're not getting a whole lot of variation with the attachments, even though I do run the muzzle brake. But keep in mind that this is the lowest range shotgun in the game. It has very, 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 very low range. If you can't smell the enemy, if you can't hear, that musky body odor and that Old Spice, then you are not close enough to shoot them with the Bulldog. And what gets me killed more than anything is wasting my shots before I get close of them. On the plus side, it does shoot very fast at 480 RPM maximum. This would be slow if it were an assault rifle, but for a shotgun that's pumping out, pellets everywhere, or buck for that matter, I'll call it buck from here on in if you'd like. It is very, very fast. You can really dump a lot of damage downrange very, very quickly and take out multiple opponents. However, even at this speed, you can oversample it. The average trigger finger pulling, what I've experienced, is somewhere between 500 and maybe 700 or 800, and that's a pretty big range because different people have different skills. But even at 480, if you spam it to the maximum, you actually can oversample and kind of jam the gun up. So I would say shoot it fast, but don't go whole hog. Hold back just a little bit. Time to kill on this weapon is often very fast. Most of the time, if they're in the ideal range, it'll be instant because you'll pull the trigger and they'll die, minus whatever lag difference you have. Even if they're at longer ranges, it's maybe 2, maybe 3 shots to kill them. You can spam relatively quickly as long as you don't oversample, they'll die in 2 or 3 shots. So time to kill is often fast if it kills at all. If they're at long ranges and you've got a whole bunch of hit markers and you don't kill them, well, you're just out of luck. So if you get any kills, they will be fast kills. The recoil on the Bulldog is an interesting one. It has very high recoil, and when I'm speaking of recoil, I'm talking about when you aim down sights and you pull the trigger and the gun kicks. It has a whole lot of kick and very little center speed. However, it has the tightest default hipfire spread of any of the shotguns. The hipfire spread on the Bulldog is very, very tight, and for that matter, and for that reason, I very rarely aim down sights. Now, the TAC-12, you're going to mention the Smart Choke. That's a very different story for a different in-depth episode, which we'll talk about. And like the TAC-12, this one does get a benefit. When you aim down sights on the Bulldog, the hipfire cone does tighten up and become more accurate. It does not beat the TAC-12 aim down sights, but it's not bad. However, I found that the benefit of aiming down sights and moving slowly and that sort of stuff, where the accuracy was outweighed by the slow movement, and I much prefer to hipfire on this weapon. And speaking of aim down sights, it does ADS very fast at 0.2 seconds. That's quite possibly the fastest ADS weapon, ADSing, aim down sighting, aim down sights time in the game. That competes with pistols. That's faster than SMGs. Assault rifles faster than, snipers with quick draw. So you can aim down sights very, very fast with these weapons if you want to snap to target, if you really like doing that, and that's for all shotguns. And some of them, which we'll talk about in different in-depth episodes, are very good for this, but again, I don't really recommend it on the Bulldog. Reload time is among the fastest in the shotgun class. You have a sort of cylinder of bullets that goes into the tube. I'm not sure exactly what sort of mechanic it is or what weapon this is emulating, but you reload the entire magazine in 1.6 seconds if you do reload cancel. I'm going to recommend sleight of hand. Most people rock this with sleight of hand, so you can reload it in a little bit less than a second. If you were to go through the whole animation, it would be slightly longer, but for shotguns, considering that for a lot of them you're putting in one shell at a time it's very nice to just reload the whole tube and be on your way. Magazine size is a little bit on the small side, even for shotguns. A lot of the shotguns in the game have large magazines, and for this one, considering how fast you're going to spam bullets, the magazine is unfortunately very small. Magazine size is 6, and extended magazine only takes you up to 9, and I very, 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 very highly recommend extended mags. If you don't run any other attachment on this weapon or listen to anything at all about this in-depth episode, it would be that you really need to run extended mags on this weapon because you'll burn through your bullets very, very quickly, and when you're out of bullets, you are up a creek without a paddle. This is the best shotgun for rushing hard and hip firing all over the place. If you like being fast, if you like spraying and praying, if you like hip fire, if you like high mobility gameplay, in your face kind of action, if you like sneaking up on people and shooting them, you can run the silencer, though I don't recommend it because it marks the range way too much, as we've seen in other live streams. This would be the shotgun for you, and the question will be, is this shotgun overpowered? It's a frustrating shotgun for a lot of players. They hate being killed by it. You turn the corner and spam, spam, spam. They're just blowing shot and pellets and load everywhere. Blowing load everywhere. We'll not talk about that anymore, but it can be frustrating, yet I do not believe that this is an overpowered weapon. Shotguns are not good in Call of Duty Ghosts. Let's be honest. You can kill people. There are some small maps. They're not like useless weapons, but Call of Duty Ghost is all about long-range combat and generally about positioning and not about rushing. In Black Ops, you could get a shotgun and rush really hard and shoot people in the face. In Call of Duty Ghost, that's not a very good strategic option. It was very difficult to get the gameplay that I got with this shotgun or any of the other ones that you'll see in the future. So I'm not really concerned about the Bulldog being overpowered. It's not a big frustration for me. That's my personal input here in depth. It can also be used with slugs. This is probably the only shotgun that I would recommend use for slugs with, just because of how fast you can fire it and how likely you are to get those hits. Again, you should check out the slugs in depth episode because this was my example shotgun. But now let's move into the recommended class. This is my recommended class with the Bulldog shotgun. I run extended mags and muzzle brake on it. Extended mags so that I don't burn through my mag too quickly and get in trouble. Muzzle brake doesn't help a whole lot, but it does add that just a little bit of extra couple of meters, extra couple of feet, which can be an absolute lifesaver if you underestimate your range. I run ready up so that I can recover and spray faster after sprinting. Sleight of hand is a pretty obvious choice so that I can reload quickly. I have not recommended this on an in-depth before, but we're using unusual weapons here. I also recommend on the go. The on the go perk is great for this so that you can reload it while sprinting away, then turn back around and spray people. Agility is a great choice. After those perks, we hit two other very, very, very essential perks for this weapon. We have steady aim and fully loaded. Steady aim is the most essential perk out of anything in this entire setup because it tightens your hip fire spread and makes your shotgun much, much more deadly. Fully loaded or scavenger, either one. I like fully loaded because I burn through my ammo very fast with this weapon, and it's nice to start off with more than I could ever use. And because I need more perks, I would like to have agility. I mean, my bad. I would like to have extreme conditioning. I would like to have ICU. I would like to have other things. I also run specialist. I really like to rock specialist so that I can pick up all my extra perks. And sometimes I move them around, especially the mobility perks. I move here and there and change out extreme conditioning, agility, change out something like stalker or quick draw or whatever on this class, just for whatever reason it's floating my boat. Well guys, that's all for this in-depth episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something useful. If you'd like to check out the previous episode that's on C4 and shield nerf, the next one's going to be on an IED nerf. We got a double nerf page here. I'd appreciate if you check out my sponsor Elgato in the description. They help me with a lot of this stuff. And again, don't forget the Ask Drifter Ghost app is out, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.